I had the pleasure to write a demo track for the new sound library Atlas Flutes, and now we listen to it and have a look what I've done. Okay, we start from the beginning, and because it was a demo for the library Atlas Flutes, I loaded all the patches, and we've got two different categories. We've got the textures and we've got all the flutes, and I will have a separate video where I have a look at the whole library. But here I started with the textures, and you can see this is always the same texture pure 1, 2, 3. And they play chords, and I use pitch bending for using the next key. And this can be very interesting because some notes are going down and some are going up. And for a wider sound for the first 3 patches, I use the auto pan with 3 different rates. So you can see here we've got 0.17 Hertz and here 15, and at the last one we've got 25. So we've got brighter sounds because all the pitches are panning in different ways. Let's get to the next part. Okay, so the first thing we got here is the synth bass coming from DIVA, and I reduced the low frequencies because it was too fat, and then I use the Simplon for reducing the high frequencies, and then the filter is going up a little bit. Next is a boom and a whoosh coming from Devastator. Sounds really fat. The original one was really fatter or had much more high frequencies. But for me, it was too much. Sometimes it's better to have a low pass filter. So here I used the Filter Mini by Arturia. And for getting more space for this filter, I used Simplon, but here I use the high pass filter, and all the textures that are played before this are going to this group, and before the boom is coming, I'm filtering all the low frequencies, and this has been automated. So let's hear it. And now we don't have a texture, we've got a flute. And I wanted to play higher than possible. You can see the mapping here. So I've done a little trick. I've played the highest possible key. So this was the key I wanted to have 1 octave higher. So I played the highest possible key. We can see it here. It is C4. And I wanted to have a D4. So I used render in place. Now there is an audio file. And then I just transpose the audio file and everything sounds fine. And next is the pan flute for a little riser or rise up. And here again, I like to have audio files because you can see here I can use a little fade in. And here at the second part, I can split this file and say, well, this one should be a little bit lower, -2 dB, and this one is +7 dB, plus the automation. So the dynamic is much more bigger. Okay, now let's listen to the next part. So this was the instrument that has been my first inspiration. This is the Kaval staccato, and you've got marcato, staccato, staccatissimo, and much more. I will explore this in another video, and I love this one. It's so powerful and dirty, has a great timing. And then I added another flute. And here I've done another trick when we listen to this small melody. Sounds fine, but I wanted to add a little bit more character. So I rendered this one as an audio file and pitched it just a little bit, and another version a little more higher. So this is the original and with the added versions. And I've done this here at the beginning too. And I can show you something at this little staccatissimo. I wanted to have a little crazy panning, so I added the shaper box. And it's not random, but it sounds just a little bit. This is without the panning. And with. And we've got more. We've got this flute. The next one is this flute, just a few times. That's it. Next one, we have a second bass coming from DIVA again. And let's go to the drums. We've got two different clocks. And we've got repick by the sound library Audio Brewers X. And some Wooshes by Devastator. We come to the next part. So here I added a piano, Drake piano by Metropolis Arc 1. But not very loud. I just wanted to have a little more impact. And you can see I tried the basses by Metropolis Arc 1, and here I said, well, can be too much. Let's add them at the last part. Then we have the strings. We've got the cello. They are very dry, coming from Cinematic Studio strings and LA scoring strings. And then we have the high strings. This is a mixture of Metropolis Arc strings high spiccato, and then we've got LA scoring strings and Cinematic Studio strings. Then we add more drums. So here we've got a snare and a kick. Snare is coming from Devastator Breakout by Keep Forest Instruments, and here is the kick coming from Kick 2. And you can see I've got two different kicks. That's because I changed the key. So here we are changing from G minor to E minor. And here at this plugin, you can change the tuning. You can see here I'm at G, and let's go to the other kick. Here we are at E. Sometimes it's not such a big difference, but here I said, well, it is good to do it. And we've got a few percussion coming from World Percussion Creator. And I didn't want to have more sounds or more percussion or more drums because there are enough things going on. Now we go to the next part. Okay, so we have more drums. The main thing here is Taiko Hall coming from the Devastator Breakout again. And I wanted to reduce the low frequencies. This is the bypassed version. So then we add the trap drum and the other kick. And some toms, hits, and other fill-in sounds. And again, I love to work with audio files because you can see here I can add a fade out. I can say how long are these files. You can see it here. So I love to use audio files. And we've got the gun here. Let's hear the solo. And it's always going from the left to the right. And for this, I didn't use the auto panner. I used the shaper box because the gun is playing before the next bar. And I didn't want the gun is starting, and when it's at the bar, it's moving to the left. So I wanted to start the panning a little before reaching the next bar. So this is how it sounds. Or not the next bar, the next beat. Okay, then we have more here. We've got flutes. We've got this flute. Then we've got the alto flute. And I played it at a high version. This is the original. And then I pitch it down. You can see when I go to the direct off-ramp processing here, we've got a pitch shifter minus 15. Now we've got the strings with the cello and viola, and then we add the high strings. And here is a little ear candy. I wanted to have more things going on, and this is the plugin Stutter Edit by VT and Isotope. I tried to use it on all things, but this didn't work, so I just use it at the drums. And I love to have breaks, and here I feature the flute in the break. And we are adding some more elements, and one of the most important things, I change the key. So now I'm changing from G minor, what we've had here, to A minor. Or you can say, well, we change from E minor, what we've got here, to A minor. And now we hear a melody played by the horns. So these are the Caspian 6 French horns and the trailer brass by Musical Sampling. I love both libraries because you can play sustain and staccato in one patch without key switching and other controllers. Very, very nice. And now I add the low strings by Metropolis Arc 1. And the last thing that's hiding just a little bit is Chorus by Audio Imperia. I didn't want to have it very loud, so it just should fill a little bit, but you shouldn't have the focus at the choir. And because it's a demo track for flute, I featured the flute at the end. There's been a short look into the track I wrote for the library Atlas Flutes, a library that I really love. And if you get some questions or suggestions, just leave a comment. See you the next time. Bye!